Welcome to Flat Earth School, the school that is around us 24/7 since the beginning of existence. Hope everyone is happy and healthy this morning. Hey, Jerry Snoke says, hey fellow students from USA. Yep, we are all students in this beautiful Flat Earth School. Today I'm coming at you from a beach. It may be a very special beach to me because yesterday I possibly captured a black swan. Now I'm going to go through that today. If you guys would stick around with me, I will go through that evidence. John says he's present. Roll call. Put your hand up if you're here. Flat Earth School, doing a roll call. Hey John. Hey Jess. Says Nampa, Idaho. How's my audio coming through all right? Waves aren't too loud, hopefully. Can I get audio check? Beautiful, nice, calm morning. Morning. Hey mate, how are you? How is everyone in the chat this morning? Hopefully everyone can hear me. I'll get a mic check. Welcome to Flat Earth School. Everyone rolling in now. It is a big day here for me personally on Flat Earth School. I had a great lesson given to me yesterday by this beautiful world around us. Up until yesterday, I had not personally seen what is called a black swan, which is pretty much the notion that we absolutely do not have a physical Earth curvature for a horizon. I can say that with the utmost confidence now, after personally seeing a black swan yesterday, right here, this location. That's why I'm here today. Not sure if you guys can see that flashing light out on the end of this peninsula right here. That's point perpendicular. Here's the backdrop for a lot of my photos, a lot of family photos, a lot of just nice photos in general. This bay here, Jervis Bay, is absolutely stunning. It is some of the widest sands here in Australia, possibly in the world. Some of the beaches are actually closed at the moment because it's in national park, and being in lockdown, we're not allowed in national parks. So when we come out of it, we will come out of lockdown eventually. I'm not holding my breath though. We get told another about 2 weeks here where I am. But I will be going to those locations where it's got beautiful white sands, tropical aqua water. It is gorgeous. But we're just going to have to settle for these pretty white sands and pretty aqua waters here today. Now, my show today is called The Globe Has 83 Problems and the Curve Ain't One. Kind of a bit of a takeoff of the JC song, 99 Problems. But this is all centered on the globe. The globe has so many problems, but specifically, I'm going to focus on the horizon again here because the horizon is such an important topic for the globe and for the flat Earth discussion. A couple of end of last week, I was going through 83 explanations, 83 descriptions, 83... There's a list of 83 things that Tim Osman, the anti-flat earther, Tim Osman with an S, put out. 83 things that was an excuse for why we see bottom-up disappearance. And essentially what it boils down to is why we see the horizon. 83 things of why we see the horizon. I think I only got up to 30, so I'm going to try and get through a bit more. But before we go do that, before we go through the rest of those 83 things, and hopefully I might get through them, might not, I'm going to show you guys a video from yesterday. Everyone in the chat, just let me know if those waves are too loud. I'll move back. For me right here, they're kind of ear splitting. They're only little, but God, they're noisy. Just let me know, guys, if those waves are too noisy. They have the smallest waves, but they pack a punch. Thank you everyone for joining me. Really appreciate the support I've received from my patrons, from the viewers, from the comments, from the trolls too. Thank you trolls for being here, throwing me questions live. I love answering them. I'd like some harder ones, some questions I haven't received before. It's funny how flat earth trolls come into, anti-flat earthers we call them, come into these sort of situations, and they give us questions that we have been given by every single other troll that comes in here. All I ask anti-flat earthers and trolls, just be a bit original. You know, give us some new questions, some things that will make us actually think. As it stands, this isn't our first rodeo. We've been through these things many, many times before, and I love going through them again. It's fine. You can keep bringing up refraction, which unwittingly invokes a container, as does atmosphere. As soon as you say atmosphere, spherical shaped air, you need a container. And we are told that this Earth that we live on, if it's a globe, it is an open system. It doesn't have a container. Can't have it both ways. Can't hold both positions. A contained Earth, which would not let air out into the vacuum of space, but at the same time, it needs to be open, an open system, so you can let rockets out, so you can let meteors in. Yeah, it doesn't work both ways. Can someone just comment in the chat? I don't know if it's a bit stuck. Oh no, sorry. I just didn't scroll down. All right, I'll go back through the chat. Hey, Vitamin Z. Yeah, the globe definitely has endless problems. How does something that doesn't exist have problems? Well, as long as there's followers to the thing that doesn't exist, it has problems. Hey, Adam Bob from Melbourne, Florida. Inglewood, one of my patrons. Hey, Mitchell, watching at work. Roasting green chilies. Watching that, oh, sorry. He's watching that work while he's roasting green chilies. Awesome. Hey, Dusty Ryder, one of my patrons. Thank you for being here. Wave's not affecting my voice. Awesome. James Mason, another patron. Thanks, mate. Inglewood says he's on my team, but he'd like me to show a Dutch sense video he'd like to see a show on Dutch sense explains the way the earthquakes and fault lines are on the globe. Yeah, the thing is, when we get into maps, like flat earth maps, when you open Google Maps, that's definitely a flat earth map. There is definitely no there's no bulge, there's no elevation change when you pick one point of an ocean or of a bay, of a body of water. There's no elevation drop when you use the elevation tool from one side of a piece of a body of water to another. It is definitely a flat Earth map. But when we talk about the Earth on a world scale, like, it's all good when you're zoomed in and you're looking at things that you can definitely verify. Like, I've definitely verified some of the east coast of Australia. I've done a bit of traveling, and it checks out. The maps do represent what we see here in reality. Up until the point where you zoom out and you get a picture of something like an entire continent. It turns into a cartoon. It's not actual real pictures stitched together. At that point where you zoom out, you can really tell when you zoom out on Google Maps or on Google Earth, when it turns into that cartoon ball. That's when, I don't know. So it's hard on a world scale to plot things like earthquake lines. I suppose if you really wanted to, you could zoom in on the locations where the earthquakes have been, and then somehow stitch those actual images from the high altitude planes. I don't think they're even high altitude. The program that I use, Near Maps, it literally says aerial photography from planes. It gets updated weekly. Near Maps. It does use Google Maps data for elevation profiles and for some other areas where the planes don't regularly go over, but is used for construction and building daily, so it needs to be updated weekly. That's Near Maps. You can zoom right in. You can almost make out number plates. It's crazy. It's awesome. It's a paid application. I still get access to it through my formal work, and that's what I use. Actually, I'm going to show you guys. I've got a little video of from here to Point Perpendicular. Got a little video that I made up. I'm going to put it in a presentation for tomorrow. So this is Near Maps. This is Near Maps. This is where I am, round about here. I'll just play the video. It's a screenshot, so you can screen record. So that's where I am right there, and that's the rocks. Hang on, I'll show you the rocks. Don't know if you guys can see it, but there's some rocks here to my left. That's just those rocks here. These rocks here. Probably a bit hard to make out in this video, but just to give you a sense of location. So I am standing there, the sand dunes behind me. Their elevation, I didn't find an elevation more than 6.3 meters behind me, and that's going to come into play when we're looking out of the horizon out here. And so you can use the measuring function from here out to Point Perpendicular. So there's some rocks out there that I saw yesterday, and they're just demarcation points. And so that's 7.8 miles. That's what I'm getting from Near Maps. That's the kind of stuff we can do on Near Maps. We can zoom right in past that, but just to show you guys. So Point Perpendicular, that point right there, Point Perpendicular, from this location is about 7.8 miles. All the rocks beneath them are 7.8 miles. Now, if you do the maths on a globe, the distance to the horizon, the geometric horizon, the sphere edge on a globe can be no more than 1.22 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. That's just geometry. That is just a fact of geometry on a sphere. From an observer, you can only see a set distance on a globe. It has a physical Earth curve edge, and that must be the horizon in every single instance. And that's why we get things like the black swan absolutely ripping it apart. That flat fellow says dome life, yeah. That was myself and Paul on the plane had a podcast until the end of last year called Dome Life. Check it out. Pretty sure it's still on most good streaming platforms for podcasts. So I'm just going through the chat here. Yeah, Jess Palmer says I should get a boat and show it going over the curvature, then bring it back with the camera. You know, there's been things like that that have been suggested, because having a boat and having a drone and having obviously a good zoom camera are three things that would be absolutely perfect for just demonstrating that there is absolutely no curvature. You can use the drone to set a distance, an absolute distance from your location of the observer to the boat. The drone can just go and follow the boat from the observer. As it keeps going, you'll see the exact distance in real time. You can get down pretty much to the water with the zoom camera, just watch it going. That'll be a great idea, Jess Palmer. I'd really like to do that one day. I've got a drone, I've got a couple of zoom cameras, got the P1000, got the P900, but I don't got a boat. Will Brack says, sup homie, keep chopping these globe hebs, yeah? Yep. I will do, Will. Will Brack's one of my patrons. Adam Meakin, how are you, mate? Dusty Rider, another one of my patrons. Thanks for being here, guys. Prussian Observer says, so cool to see the sunrise when it just left a few hours ago there in Western Europe. Unfortunately, we won't see an actual sunrise today. There is a big line of cloud here. I think the sunrise is going to be around about here somewhere. We'll see it come up over the cloud. I suppose for our perspective point here, it will be a sunrise. It's rising above whatever physical blockage that we're seeing in the clouds. That is a real physical blockage. The clouds, the horizon is definitely not a physical blockage. All right, so I just showed in near maps that my distance to this point right here, point perpendicular from my observer point, is 7.8 miles. And so if we are living on a globe and we are seeing the bottom of point perpendicular there, if the horizon is at that distance, at 7.8 miles, on a globe, you can only see that if you're around about I did the calculations, about 36, it's around 40 feet. I think it's about 13 meters, 40 feet. I think my calculations are, my conversions are a bit off, but it's around that 40 feet you need to see. Adam, if you're in there, can you just do the quick calculation? How high do you need to be to see a horizon at 7.8 miles? Pretty sure it's around 40 feet. And I'm definitely not at 40 feet. Yesterday I was probably, my feet were in the water. I had the camera up to eye level. So I'd say it's about 5.5 feet. But I called it 9 feet. I tacked on another 3 and a bit feet, just for the. I'm going to err on the side of caution. I'll give the Globers something, because it's a pretty big distance, 7.8 miles. My feet were in the water. Instead of saying, yeah, my exact height is 5 feet, I'll just go 9 feet. Who cares? At 9 feet, the horizon can only be the physical Earth curve horizon on a globe with a radius of 39.59 miles. Can only be just over 3 miles, 3.5 miles. But yet, as I'm about to show you, whoop, sorry guys. As I am about to show you, this is the video from yesterday. So this is the video yesterday, looking at that point perpendicular that I'm looking at. That is point perpendicular. It's got the lighthouse. I'm just zooming out to show you that that's where I am. Waves at my feet. We'll call it 9 feet. It was really about 5.5 feet. But as we zoom in, we can start to see the horizon at those rocks there. A lot of interesting things to unpack here. And what's interesting too, there's a boat that comes out from behind those rocks. That's pretty cool. It's really hard to see on a screen share like this, just with an iPad. So I've got some still images I want to go through. So I've taken some still images and kind of made a bit of a presentation. I'm going to put this out on my main channel. So this is what we were just seeing. From, okay, we're calling it a 9-foot observer height, 7.8 miles. So just go forward a little bit. So we've got a couple of layers here. So we've got a mirroring layer. We can definitely see that mirroring layer. That boat, more in the foreground, is getting mirrored. This is not a mirage. I just had to double check that with a few people last night. Oh, just Adam Meakin, just the distance to Earth curve on a globe, 1.22 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. Just working backwards, if the horizon was 7.8 miles, how high would I have to be to see that horizon on a globe? With the distance to the Earth curve, the horizon, 1.22 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. So just working backwards, I'm pretty sure it's about 40 feet. Alright, so this is one of the stills that I was looking at. So we've got a mirroring layer. I'm going to put this up on my channel a bit later. So this is the bottom of the rocks, 7.8 miles. Just go back a bit so you can see that, yep, that's the bottom of the rocks. And I'm asserting that this is the horizon in the background here. That's where the boat came from that we saw in the clip. So I go through it again. Mirroring layer here in the foreground. Bottom of the rocks. And the horizon. Now what's interesting is, see this bit here? I can't even see these rocks today. And these images were taken about 12 o'clock in the afternoon yesterday. It was a cracker of the day yesterday. It was about 24, 25 degrees Celsius yesterday. And this is like the middle of the day I'm seeing this. And there was hardly any refractive effects. It was awesome. But today, I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to try and get that same image. And I'm a bit high here. I'm a good probably, we'll call it 15 feet from the water. I'm a bit back because I don't want to get the camera wet and everything. But we'll drop this down. We'll get the P1000 out. See what we can see. I only had my P900 yesterday. I was spewing. Can't believe I didn't bring my... I only had the P900 yesterday. I didn't have this P1000. So that footage that you saw was from a P900 because we're just out. It was just a family day. I don't know if we can get closer. It's a bit awkward with these two tripods. the tripod that the P1000's on is a little bit broken. I probably should have had the other way around, but anyway. Alright, I'll try and line these two cameras up. Oh man, one of the tripods is stuck under the other one. Great setup. Alright, get a bit closer. See what we can see here. No, I'm just going to take it off the tripod. Alright, here, this is what we can see with the... Oh, no. Gonna have to go this way. Alright. Back it up. The P1000 didn't like that. Alright, hopefully we can see this. Okay, I'm going to be zooming in on point perpendicular again. Hopefully there's enough light. So that is definitely point perpendicular. And look, there's no rocks. No rocks at the bottom of it today. Crazy. Look at that, no rocks at the bottom. You cannot even see the rocks. And this is a white swan here. This is what we call a white swan. Possibly, I don't know. I don't think it actually lines up with the curve of the earth. But anyway, there's not really a demarcation point. I was just using those rocks yesterday as a demarcation point. So as you can see, I'm at an even higher observer point. Look, we'll go through. Sorry. We'll go through this, what we're seeing here compared to what we saw yesterday. All right, so this is me fully zoomed out. My feet were in the water yesterday here. Exact same location. This is me zoomed out today. Yep. Thank you, Adam. Adam says 7.8 mile horizon. Working backwards, you need to be about 41 foot. Thanks a lot, Adam. Awesome. Appreciate it. We might just watch the sun just for a little bit, just as it comes up. Looks pretty nice today. And that is a physical blockage right there by the clouds of the sun. Beautiful. Beautiful sunrise. Beautiful reflection on the water on the nice flat plane there. Only possible on a flat earth. You will not get a reflection on the water like that on a curved surface. Stunning. All right, we'll go back to here. All right, this is fully zoomed out. This is what I'm seeing right here with the P1000, fully zoomed out. There we go. And this was the P900 fully zoomed out yesterday, so you can see I was considerably closer to the water. My observer, so this right here, Adam, this one from yesterday, my observer height, my feet were in the water, the camera was at eye level. So we'll call it about 5.5 feet. But erring on the side of caution, I'll give it 9 foot. That's fine, I don't really care. We'll say 9 foot, so the distance to the horizon from 9 foot can only be about, what, 3.5 miles? I'll play this video again. We'll just go through it again. One more time. So zoom in and we can definitely see those rocks here. That was yesterday. Exact same location. We'll zoom in here and we'll try and get the rocks. Yeah, correct, Adam. Yep, 9 foot observer height, 7.8 mile distance to horizon. That's the bottom of right there. 7.8 miles to those rocks right there. Now we'll zoom in from the exact same location. Right now I'm probably about 15 feet, and we can't even see the rocks. Those rocks are just not there. Not visible today. Can't see the rocks today. That was yesterday, from exact same location. Today, no, whoop. Today, no rocks. Crazy. Some would call that a white swan. But I'm definitely calling this a black swan because, as Adam just went through the maths, on a globe with a radius of 3959 miles, if I said I'm definitely lower than 5 foot in this video here, definitely lower than 9 foot, sorry, but we'll call it 9 foot just for argument's sake. My feet are in the water, the camera's at eye level. We'll call it 9 foot. I'm definitely not that big. Not giving myself a pat on the back for being big. But as we keep going, zoom in, we can see those rocks. And those rocks are put about 7.8 miles. As we keep going, I can zoom in a little bit more, and we can clearly see that. Stop it around here. Hey Nathan, how are you? Just going through a black swan that I captured yesterday. We can see here, around here, that the boat has a bit of mirroring. That's definitely not the horizon. If this layer here wasn't here, Adam says, would he like me to make up a new R value from a 9-foot observer height, 7.8 miles? Yeah, go ahead, Adam. Thanks, mate. That'd be awesome. It's definitely not as good as the actual black swan, 1-foot observer height, 10 mile. But anyway, this is I'm calling it a 9-foot observer height. Those rocks there, 7.8 miles. This is just what I captured here yesterday. And I want to pause it when the boat comes out. See that boat? There's a boat that actually comes out from back here. It's going to be much better when I upload it on my actual channel and see it in HD. No, it's definitely not actually 9 foot. This is the start of the video, Nathan. Definitely not 9 foot. My feet were in the water. The camera was at eye level. It was about 5.5 foot. The actual was about 5.5 foot. I wasn't crouching down or anything. Okay, so Adam's got all right. Nathan says let's call it what it is. Don't give him an inch. All right, so the camera was about 5.5 foot here. We're seeing in excess of 7.8 miles. That's just a demarcation point. The rocks there were 7.8 miles. 7.8 miles from 5.5 foot. That's just where the rocks are. And if I enhance the image a little bit, we'll go through this. This is the image that is enhanced. So we've got a mirroring layer here. We've got the bottom of the rocks at 7.8 miles. See in the bottom of the rocks there. And then we've got the horizon in the distance, well above that 7.8 miles. All right, honest observer height, 5.5 foot. And distance to, not to the horizon, just to the bottom of those rocks is 7.8 miles. I wouldn't have a clue how far that horizon is. Just distance to the rocks is 7.8 miles. Now I thought it could have been a bit of miraging here, but as we can see, this layer here, that's just mirroring, that's just reflection. That's just, it was so flat and so calm yesterday. This is the middle of the day too. It's probably like 25 degrees Celsius. Middle of the day, cracker of a day. First day of spring yesterday. So bottom of the rocks here, that's definitely not the horizon there, 7.8 miles. The horizon's here in the background. Above 7.8 miles. That is way in the background. And this is just on my P900. I didn't have my P1000 with me yesterday. So while Adam goes through those maths of a 5.5 foot observer height, distance just to the rocks, 7.8 miles, it's something that we definitely, yeah, drum roll for Adam's maths. Okay, so the R, if we're saying the horizon's just at 7.8 miles from a 5.5 foot observer height, the R goes up to an Australian record of 29,200 miles instead of the stated 39.59 miles. So that's just if the horizon was at 7.8 miles right there. If we're saying the horizon's at 7.8 miles, it's definitely not. It's past it. That's just a demarcation point, the bottom of the rocks. 7.8 miles. 5.5 foot observer height. If the horizon was there, and we could see no further than that. Yeah, black swan from black swan country. That's exactly right. Black swan's actually discovered by the Western world anyway. Obviously, obviously people have seen black swans here for a long time before the Western world came. But the Western world discovered black swans here in Australia. So 7.8 mile distance just to those rocks, not to the horizon. The horizon's past that. It's way up here. I want to show you guys something too. I showed you just before, so we can see those rocks. I'll go back to the video. Just to show you guys how far it is. This is using near maps. Thanks a lot, Adam, for doing that live maps for us. Awesome stuff. So this is my location here, using near maps. So I couldn't find an elevation above 6.3 meters. That's just showing the sand dunes behind me. I'll just show you guys. That's what I'm looking at. That's point perpendicular right there. That's the sand dunes behind me. Definitely not 40 feet, as is required to see the horizon at 7.8 miles. That's what I'd need to be. 40 foot, which is definitely not. It's only about 6 meters above sea level around there. But I'm down here. This is just what I'm seeing. So distance from where I am right here to point perpendicular. There, that's right, Nathan. We just see rocks. I'm not seeing too far. So about 7.8 miles. And this is the video. I want to compare. This is the video for today, from a 5.5 foot observer height. Only goes for a minute. So my feet were in the water, 5.5 foot observer height. Zooming in on point perpendicular. This is the middle of the day too. Absolutely no refraction. It was awesome. This is the clearest I've ever seen this point from around this location, from anywhere in the bay. So we're seeing those rocks. Apologies for the poor camera work. I had a baby in my hands too at the time. And we get to see, there's a boat that comes out. See that boat that comes out from behind the rocks? And what's interesting is, I'll just go back. Nope. Okay, what's interesting is we can see those rocks. From a 5.5 foot observer height, we can see the rocks. And I want to show you what I can see here today. Because we can't even see the rocks here today. Whoop. Alright, got my P1000 out. Let's zoom in. Let's see if we can see those rocks. The rocks aren't even there today. That's point perpendicular. I'm actually probably at a 15 foot observer height right now with the camera. So I'm at a higher observer height and the rocks are gone today here. There's no rocks at the bottom of that point perpendicular, that peninsula. No rocks at all to be seen. Some would call this a white swan. No, the tide's around about the same. So I'll zoom out here. Definitely at a higher observer height. The tide's around about the same. And those rocks don't disappear from the tide either. Zoom in right here, right now. Those rocks are gone. They're not even there. So what we're seeing here, we can maybe call a white swan. I don't think it lines up with the globe Earth geometry by any standard, but the rocks are not there compared to this video yesterday. 5.5 foot observer height, same location, and the rocks are clearly visible there. Around about the same tide as well. Just different effects, different days. Exactly, Adam Meakin says, we see as far as the conditions allow us. It's not only ever too far if you pre-assume that this observation here is on a globe with a geometric horizon. We should not be able to see these rocks at all, let alone ever, and let alone the horizon in the background. I'll just go through the images here. So we've got, this is an enhanced image of a still of this Yeah, it's amazing the rocks are gone, isn't it? We can clearly see the rocks in this image, but the rocks are gone now if we're doing it live. So there's a bit of mirroring here. We've got the rocks, 7.8 miles, and we've got the horizon above it in the background. Now, if I was trying to do it today here live, like I just showed you guys, the rocks are gone. And it's not from the tide. These rocks never go from the tide. They're well above the high tide level. It's just that the conditions are not allowing us to see it. Just a bit of a fun observation here on Flat Earth School. I was trying to do a live black swan to see if we can see those rocks again, but no, we cannot see those rocks today. Adam says it's not a looming holographic hyena clock, ever. Unless you need it to be maintained. Unless you need it to maintain a ball theology. Alright, so now that we've seen a black swan from yesterday at this very special location here in Australia, well, special to me because I come here all the time. I take the kids here. They were swimming here, paddle boarding. It's nice and calm, this bay here, Jervis Bay. It's beautiful. White sands, clear, aqua blue water when the sun comes up. Let's put the camera back on the tripod. That sun's not coming through too bright for you guys. And so the problem that the globe finds itself is we've got people like Tim Osman that gave us 83 reasons why we see that horizon. Last week I only got to 30, so I'll go from 1 to 30. I explained him in one of my live streams last week. I think it was number 8, session number 8 if you want to go through. So the first 30 were, this is from a list of Tim Osman. So the first 30 were perspective, angle of attack, optical slant, Aries diffraction, zone of invisibility, circle of confusion, ether band, dirty air, compression / apparent vertical contraction, which is stooping. Number 10, sinking. 11, convergence. 12, melting, merging, bending, blending. 13, they just do. 14, tidal bores. 15, foreshortening. 16, waves. 17, water swells. 18, atmospheric lensing. 19, bending light. 20, angular resolution. 21, culmination. 22, diffraction limit. 23, non-uniformity density transition zone. That's a new one for me. 24, curvilinear perspective. 25, curved eyeballs. 26, 3D model plane clipping. 27, rotational foreshortening. 28, perspective compression of the device lens zoom. 29, diminishing properties. And 30, personal atmospheric dome / horizon. And that's just the first 30 that Tim Osman, one of the anti-flat earthers, has given us for. He originally labelled it as why things disappear from the bottom up. But when it boils down to it, it's all about the horizon. And that's why I labelled this video 83 problems. The globe has 83 problems and curve ain't one. You don't have to worry about the curve anymore, anti-flat earthers. You don't have to worry about the globe anymore. It's not a physical earth curvature for your globe. Tim Osman has detailed 83 things that cause the horizon. 83 different things, and curvature isn't one of them. So we don't need to have that conversation about boats being blocked from the bottom up anymore. That's just an anti-flat earth argument. Not real, doesn't happen. Hey mate, how are you? Lovely people here on the beach exercising. That is one of the requirements for being outside of lockdown. You have to be exercising. Obviously, I'm not here. I'm working. That's another requirement. Essential work right here. this is my employment right now, so please hit the super chat. Join on Patreon. Patreon.com/Mitchell from Australia. If you like my work, thank you for being here, just donating your time. But if you could donate some money, it'd be much appreciated. Anyway, I digress. So, Tim Osman has given us 83 things why things disappear bottom up. Essentially why we have a horizon. So that was the first 30 I just went through. Alright, so we'll keep going with it. So number 31, mirroring. So there's a mirroring level sometimes when we're looking out at the horizon. That could be an explanation of why things disappear bottom up. Thanks, Tim Osman. Mirroring. 32, water ramps. That's a new one. Water ramps. Anyone heard of water ramps before? Causing the horizon? Yes, Nathan. Nobody claims the horizon is Earth curve, says Tim Osman. But unfortunately, he previously to that statement that nobody claims the Earth curve is the horizon, quote from Tim Osman, he's given us 83 things of why the horizon actually exists, and it's definitely not Earth curve. So number 32 is water ramps. Number 33, cone vision. That's a good one. Thanks Tim Osman. Cone vision. Number 34, opaque moisture deck. I wonder which one of these 83 things has made the horizon that we saw today, where there is no rocks visible from here. Higher observer point, same location, same distance, pretty much, give or take a few feet. But we don't see those rocks out at point perpendicular today. I wonder which of these 83 things is causing those rocks to disappear bottom up. So number 85, crowded light rays. Got a few crowded light rays here with the sun. I might just pan it away, see if the image is a bit better. Oh, we can keep the sun in there. The sun looks nice. So Adam Meakin says water ramps. So bulges, tidal swells at 10 foot. So, sorry, bulges. A tidal swells a 10-foot swell at 5 miles blocks more than 30 miles. Are we saying that's what a water ramp is, Adam? I wouldn't have a clue. So Adam Meakin says tidal swells a 10-foot swell. So a 10-foot swell at 5 miles blocks more than 30 miles. Cool. Thanks, Adam. Appreciate the help once again. So where were we? Number 36, Bessel functions. Adam says, yep, so uneven surface due to bores, swells, or tides. Yep. And that would be a physical blockage, wouldn't it? That would be one of the few things in this 83 strong list of an actual physical blockage. Something that's actually physically blocking things from the bottom up. Because we know that waves definitely are physical. We know that waves, in the ocean anyway, block things from the bottom up. You don't have to be at the horizon to see that. But sometimes that is an explanation of why the horizon is blocking things from the bottom up, as Adam just detailed. Get back to that. Yeah, so uneven surfaces, yeah, due to bores, swells, or tides. Yep, that's a physical blockage. That's one of the few that are physical. So number 37, fake waves. Number 38, f-stop/aperture. Now that's interesting because I'm not sure if I've got the video here of my coin demonstration on the table. I'll just have a quick look on my iPad. But aperture is one of the reasons why I haven't got it. I really need to put it on this iPad. Aperture is one of the reasons why, whoever's seen my work before, that the coin disappearing on the table, put a coin on the table, the observer height of the camera about level with the table. You put the coin going further and further back on the table. It will disappear bottom up. Increase the aperture, increase the focal length, essentially increasing the angular resolution, the diffraction limit, and you'll see the bottom of that coin come back. Fun effect to play with. All right, where were we? So that's the f-stop aperture, number 35. Number 36, atmospheric blocking. It's a bit of a trigger word, atmosphere. Not for us, we're fine. We just point out that atmosphere, you need a container for it. Spherical shaped air, another problem on the globe. You don't have a container in the shape of a sphere to have atmosphere. We just call it air. We don't need to assign a shape to it. Number 40, inferior mirage. Yep, that's one of the effects of refraction that Andrew Thomas Young details. PhD, Andrew Thomas Young. And that's real refraction, not the 7/6R refraction. I don't think that's even one of the things in this list. Is it Tim Osman? Timmy forgot to put standard refraction. Also affectionately called terrestrial refraction, where you need the R value in the first place. Because it's measured on a globe. Refraction, standard refraction, terrestrial refraction, is calculated at 7/6 of the R value. That's... Timmy, you left one off. Well, for the globe, it can only be one thing, which is Earth curve. But they also like to assert standard refraction, 7/6 of the R value, which absolutely got smashed by the black swan. Got smashed live here today, actually. Malcolm Foster, how are you, mate? One of my patrons. I'll shout everyone out soon. Sorry, just having a drink of water. It's actually getting pretty warm. It's going to be another cracker of a day here in Australia. Spring has definitely sprung. Second day of spring here. Happy spring to those of you guys falling a bit behind in the past. Happy spring. No, sorry. Happy autumn. In the north. In the north, your summer's over. It's gone. Our summer's just about to begin. Oh, it's going to be fun. We've had a pretty horrible winter. Not weather-wise, no. Just the things going on here in Australia. I'm sure most of you have seen some of the videos on my channel about what's going on here in Australia, the lockdowns. Anyway, that's not what I'm here to talk about. I'm here to talk about the 83 things that Tim Osman has detailed for bottom-up disappearance of objects at the horizon, essentially the horizon. So we got to number 40, inferior mirage. Number 41, atmospheric eclipsing. Number 42, fractal looming. Looming being... So is looming and fractal looming different? Because looming is one of those 5 real refractive effects that Andrew Thomas Young details. And refraction, as defined by Andrew Thomas Young, is objects moving relative to the horizon. It is never defined as the horizon moving relative to the horizon. It just doesn't happen. The horizon doesn't move relative to the horizon. We only have one horizon. To have a horizon moving relative to another horizon, you need to have an invisible horizon that we never see. Possibly that geometric horizon they keep going on about that we've never seen. No one ever claims that the horizon is physical Earth curve. Anyway, we'll keep going. So we've got number 43, barotropic tides. Barotropic tides, that's a new one. That's cool. Number 44, rip tides. A few tides going on here. I'm assuming this is going to be all actual physical effects, not optical. Ooh, I can just see the bottom of those rocks coming up on point perpendicular now. I'll zoom in at the bottom of this live stream and see if we can actually see the rocks. Isn't that interesting? When it's a bit cooler, we can see... We can't see as far. Well, here anyway. When the sun's come up, it's mixed the air up. getting a bit of heat into it, and now I can just see the bottom of those rocks there. I'll zoom in a bit after we go through a few more of these things. What time is it? So we've got about 10 minutes left. All right, I'll get to number 50, then we'll zoom in on point perpendicular again. All right, so number 45, illusion created by Satan to discredit the Bible. Oh, come on, Tim. Number 46, Rayleigh criterion. Yep, that falls in line with the diffraction limit, angular resolution. Rayleigh criterion is definitely a reason why things disappear bottom up. If anyone's seen my coin on the table observation, Rayleigh criterion. Number 47, limited field of view. Yep, definitely limited field of view. And that's why if you go up high, you can see further, you can see more things. You've got a bigger limit of view. Number 48, Photoshop / CGI. Yeah, that's a bit out there, Timmy. You don't need to go on a computer to crop things out. We just see what we see. Number 49, ray line erosion. Erosion, that's an interesting word. Definitely different to ray line erosion, but erosion just in general. If you saw my live stream yesterday, I was down at a beach where I grew up, Charlevoix Heads Beach, here on the south coast of New South Wales, Australia, and it was heavily eroded. Go to my live stream yesterday if you want to check that out. It was so much destruction. And number 50, Aries lines. Good stuff, Timmy. Got another 20 in today. I'm going to have to dedicate another show to get through to the other 33 things that Tim Osman details as why things disappear bottom up. Very entertaining, Tim. And not one of them is Earth curved, as is needed on the globe for your globe model. Every single horizon has to be Earth curvature. All right, let's zoom in again on these rocks and let's see if we can see it. Set the camera back up. Let's see what we got here. We might have to. Sorry, I'll just go through the chat a little bit. Sorry, I haven't been looking. So, were the rocks that disappeared in front of or behind perpendicular or at the same distance? They're pretty much, well, the point it wraps around, so there's different distances. It's not too much, but it's for the sake of this argument, yeah, those rocks out there that we saw in the first video from yesterday that we didn't see today, ran about the same distance, 7.8 miles. What we got? They definitely weren't hidden by clouds, those rocks. Adam says number 45 is more plausible than geometric limitation can be seen. What was number 45 again, Adam? I put my iPad away. Sorry. Malcolm Foster wants to go along with satanic deception to disprove the Bible. That was a good one. Yeah, Lizzie Baker says sometimes there can be several mirror lines in one view. I know it's an awesome effect that we can see. Several mirror lines. They're not mirages. They're just mirrors of images, because sometimes it's just so flat, so calm that we can see mirror images under things. It's pretty cool. Love you too, Joe Mama. Brian Leakey, one of my patrons, says it's almost 100 degrees there in northern hemisphere in Florida. You just wanted me to say hemisphere, didn't you? Spherical shaped air. Dusty Rise says gases not as dense maybe at certain temperatures separate the humidity. Maybe. Alright, so if you guys were with me earlier in this live stream, we zoomed in on point perpendicular on these rocks here, and we did not see rocks beneath point perpendicular. And we're still not seeing the rocks. Oh man. I'll try and clear the screen. Try and clean the screen. It's a bit glary here now. Bit hard to see. Apologies for the poor quality, but you guys get the gist of what's going on. I'll just clear this screen. Whoop, don't want to lose the P1000. Definitely got to get a better tripod. It's a bit scary on these cheap tripods. It just wanted to fall over. At least it's just sand. Although sand does get in everything. Just clean the lens. Alright, I'll clean this one too. Sorry guys for the seizure. Alright, we'll do this one last time before I pack up. Try and get as much glare out of it as possible. Alright, see what we can see here. No, that's horrible. I'm gonna have to go like this. How good's the Nikon cameras, how you can move this display screen around? That's awesome, eh? Love it. Alright. So that's point perpendicular. Let's see if we can see the rocks at the bottom of it yet. They were just starting to appear. Don't know how that image is coming through for you guys, but I'm seeing a little wavy line. A new apparent horizon forming there. Point perpendicular. There were definitely rocks there yesterday, and they are definitely not covered by the tide. They are rocks that are, if you go to point perpendicular and look down, that is a massive cliff too. That's like probably 80 to 100 meters. It's huge. Huge cliff. If you look down there at high tide, even at king tides, big swells, you always see the rocks. The rocks are always there. It's not something that gets covered up by the tide. This is purely an optical effect that we're not seeing these rocks here. Still not seeing those rocks, unfortunately. No black swans here today. Not live anyway. But if you stay tuned to my channel, hopefully today I can do some editing from this observer location. Yesterday, I was down at the water. Middle of the day too, by the way. It wasn't like early morning. Middle of the day, observed a black swan observation. We went through it a bit earlier in the stream. If you want to go back through the stream, we concluded that I was at a 5.5 foot observer height. The rocks beneath point perpendicular were about 7.8 miles. So even just that observation of seeing the rocks from 7.8 miles from a 5.5 foot observer height, that's absolutely impossible. The horizon from 5.5 feet can only be, on a globe, 3.5 miles. I would have to be at 41 feet to see the horizon at 7.8 miles if the globe were a radius of 39.59 miles, which we concluded it definitely isn't, live here today. Just a black swan observation here from Australia yesterday. And as I look around, there's definitely not a 40-foot mound that I can go and stand on, about 13 meters. It's just, I'd have to be, there's a telegraph pole over there, I'd have to be up there. Up on the power lines. That's the only way you can see 7.8 miles on a globe of a radius of 39.59 miles. So Adam Meakin in the chat, thanks Adam, did some quick maths, concluded that the new radius value, if we still think we live on a globe, from 5.5 foot observer height, 7.8 mile distance horizon. That's been nice. The horizon was definitely far in the distance. That was just to the rocks. The new radius value for those measurements, for those observations, is 29,200 miles radius. A little bit different from the 39.59 miles we're told. Just a bit of a live debunking of the R value here on Flat Earth School. And I'd like to thank everyone for being here live with me. It has been another beautiful day on Flat Earth School. If the world feels like it turns on you, turn to Flat Earth School. It is around us 24/7 since the beginning of existence. I've been Mitchell from Australia. You enjoy the rest of your day at Flat Earth School. Around us 24/7 since the beginning of existence. I just want to keep pointing that out. Yeah, thanks, Dusty. Super day to you too, mate. Just going through the chat. Oh, thanks, guys. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being at Flat Earth School. Thanks for the support. Thanks for the views. Thanks for the comments. You guys are awesome. I'll see you tomorrow. Don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow. I don't know where. Maybe a waterfall. I might go to a waterfall tomorrow. Change it up a bit. All right, thanks, guys. Thanks for being at Flat Earth School. See you guys later. Love you all.